People say our marriage is awkward, that there's something about us that doesn't quite make sense. But what if I told you the thing they don't understand is the very reason our love survived? This Christmas, I did something for my husband that most people would never dare. And it changed everything. My name is Morgan. I'm 26 years old, and I've been married to Nick for 3 years now. We're that couple people can't quite figure out. Too close, too synchronized, too something. But here's what they don't see. The intimacy that exists when two people truly, deeply know each other. When there are no walls, no performances, just truth. That night, I fell in love with my man. But I also fell in love with the moment. I fell for the moment that would define our entire relationship. We built our relationship on that foundation. Complete transparency. No judgment, no shame. Just two people committed to seeing each other fully. The beautiful parts, the complicated parts, everything. Our marriage isn't conventional. We don't fit neat categories or follow traditional scripts. But it's ours, and it's built on something most couples never find. Absolute, unconditional acceptance. To understand this Christmas, you need to know how Nick and I fell in love. 7 years ago, I watched him perform in a college Christmas drama. He wore a 1920s flapper dress on stage. Champagne silk, beaded fringe, absolutely stunning. But it wasn't the costume that captured me. It was his fearlessness, his complete authenticity, the way he embodied freedom without apology. I fell in love that night. Not just with who he was, but with his courage to be seen so fully. We met months later, started dating, eventually married. And we built our relationship on that same foundation. Complete honesty, no judgment, absolute acceptance. Every year since, we celebrate December 15th as our love anniversary, the night that performance changed my life. This year, I decided to give Nick back something I knew he missed. That feeling of freedom. That moment of transformation he'd only allowed himself once, on that stage 7 years ago. It started 2 weeks before Christmas. I was holiday shopping downtown, ducking into boutiques to escape the December cold, when I saw them. 2 dresses in a vintage-inspired boutique window. Both stunning. Both screaming Christmas glamour in completely different ways. The first was mine. A playful red tartan plaid mini with off-shoulder white fur trim. Fun, festive, very me. But the second dress stopped me cold. A red flapper-style number with beaded fringe, sheer lace, dramatic poinsettia appliques, and the most gorgeous white fur sleeves I'd ever seen. Bold. Theatrical. Absolutely breathtaking. And in that moment, standing in front of that boutique window with Christmas lights reflecting off the glass, I saw it. The whole plan. The perfect gift. The thing Nick didn't even know he wanted. I saw him in that dress. Saw the way his eyes would light up. Saw the memory we could recreate. Saw the moment I could give him back. I went home buzzing with secret plans. Couldn't focus on anything else. Kept imagining his face, his reaction, the moment of recognition when he understood what I was offering. But I had to be strategic. Had to make it feel natural, not forced. Had to create the right atmosphere, the right entry point, the right energy. So I waited. Watched the calendar. And when the holiday period finally arrived, when work slowed down and the world went quiet and we had nothing but time together, I made my move. 3 days before our anniversary, I suggested a shopping trip. Casual, light. Let's go find some new holiday outfits. All bills on me. Nick's face lit up immediately. He loves shopping, loves fashion, loves the creativity of putting together looks. Really? You're feeling generous today, Mrs. Claus? I laughed, kissed his cheek. Consider it an early Christmas present. What Nick didn't know was that this shopping trip wasn't for me. We drove downtown, Christmas music playing, snow starting to fall in those perfect movie scene flurries. Nick was chattering about sales and styles, completely unsuspecting. And I was trying to keep my expression neutral, trying not to give away the secret humming beneath my skin. When we pulled up to the boutique, the same one where I'd seen the dresses, Nick raised an eyebrow. This place? Isn't it kind of high-end? Only the best for my love, I said, squeezing his hand. Inside, the boutique was warm and elegant. Holiday music played softly. The owner, a wonderful woman named Claire, who I'd already conspired with, greeted us with champagne and a knowing smile. I guided Nick through the store, pretending to browse for myself, building anticipation. And then, casually, I led him to the back corner where the Christmas editorial collection hung. Oh my God, I breathed, reaching for the red flapper dress like I'd just discovered it. Nick, look at this. I held it up, watched his eyes widen. The dress was even more stunning up close, the beaded fringe catching the light, The dramatic poinsettia appliques so perfectly placed, those white fur sleeves absolutely luxurious. Wow, Nick whispered. Try it on, I said softly. He blinked, looked at me, looked at the dress. What? For our anniversary? I said, meeting his eyes. For us. I saw the moment understanding dawned. Saw the flicker of excitement, then fear, then longing cross his face in rapid succession. His voice dropped to almost a whisper. Babe, what are you planning? I stepped closer, held his gaze, let him see everything I felt. Our love anniversary, the real one. His breath caught. His eyes filled with something I can't quite name. Gratitude, disbelief, love, fear, hope, all tangled together. Are you sure? He asked. I've never been more sure of anything, I said. What happened next felt sacred somehow. Claire led Nick to a private fitting room while I gathered the rest of what we'd need. The dress, obviously, but also sheer nude stockings, sleek red pointed-toe stiletto heels that I knew would be perfect. And then, because I wanted this to be complete, I guided Nick to the cosmetics section of the boutique. We're doing this right, I told him, selecting foundation, eyeshadow palettes, lip colors. Full transformation, full memory. Nick was quiet, almost reverent, as we added each item to our basket. I could see the curiosity in his eye, could see him fighting between excitement and vulnerability. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, I reminded him gently. He shook his head immediately. I want to, I can't believe you're giving me this. My heart cracked open. Baby, you don't have to hide parts of yourself from me, not ever. We finished shopping in comfortable silence. Claire rang us up with a warm smile, whispered, "Have a beautiful celebration," as she handed over the elegant shopping bags. In the car on the way home, Nick reached for my hand. Didn't say anything, just held on tight, his thumb tracing circles on my palm. The snow was falling heavier now. The city looked like a snow globe. And inside our car, something was shifting. Some invisible boundary we'd been dancing around for years was finally, gently dissolving. Once we got home, there was no turning back. And neither of us wanted to. We spent the next hour transforming our bedroom into something sacred. Dimmed the lights, lit candles, cinnamon and pine, Christmas scents filling the air. Put on a playlist of soft jazz and old holiday classics. I'd already prepared my own outfit. The red tartan dress, black tights, heels. But I waited to change. This moment was about Nick first. About creating this space for his transformation before my own. He showered, taking his time, and emerged wrapped in a towel, skin flushed from the heat, eyes bright with nervous energy. "Sit," I said gently, gesturing to the chair I'd placed in front of our full-length mirror. He sat, took a breath, met my eyes in the reflection. "Trust me?" I asked. "Always," he whispered. And so we began. I started with his hair, a vintage bob wig I'd ordered secretly weeks ago. Jet black, with a dramatic platinum blonde streak running through one side. Very 1920s, very flapper, very reminiscent of that college performance. I fitted it carefully, adjusted the positioning, made sure every strand fell naturally. Nick watched in the mirror, mesmerized, as his appearance shifted with each small adjustment. Then came the makeup. And this is where time stopped. I'd watched dozens of tutorials, practiced techniques, studied vintage photos. Because I wanted this to be perfect. Wanted to give Nick the full experience. The full transformation. First, I perfected his skin. Foundation blended seamlessly, concealer erasing every imperfection, powder setting everything to a flawless finish. Then I shaped his brows, softened them, arched them slightly, created a more feminine frame for his eyes. The eyes themselves became my canvas. I worked slowly, deliberately. Dark shadow in the crease for depth. Shimmer on the lids for drama. Precise winged liner that extended just so. Layer after layer of mascara until his lashes were impossibly long and fluttering. Nick sat perfectly still through all of it, barely breathing, just watching this new version of himself emerge in the mirror. I could feel his vulnerability. Could sense how exposed he felt, how much trust this required. So I worked with reverence, with love, with the full knowledge that this was a gift we were giving each other. Finally, the lips. Bold red, classic, timeless. I lined them carefully, filled them perfectly, and stepped back. "Oh my God," Nick breathed. He looked stunning. Absolutely, undeniably stunning. While Nick processed what he saw in the mirror, I slipped into the bathroom to transform myself. My look was different from his, playful where his was glamorous, sweet where his was dramatic, but complementary. Two versions of Christmas magic. I applied my makeup with the same care I'd used on him. Foundation giving me that porcelain finish, warm rosy blush, champagne highlight catching the light. Then the eyes, my favorite part, red and silver cut crease eyeshadow blended to perfection. Deep emerald green liner along my lower lash line for a pop of Christmas color. Sharp black winged liner, and the detail I'd been most excited about. Delicate white snowflakes and dots painted along the outer corners of my eyes. Whimsical, festive, uniquely me. I curled my lashes, added several coats of mascara, shaped my brows, painted my lips in rich matte crimson to match Nick's. Then I pulled on my outfit, the red tartan plaid dress with its off-shoulder fur trim and playful pom-pom buttons, the wide black belt cinching my waist, the structured flared skirt that made me feel like a vintage Christmas pinup. Final touch, my red velvet Santa hat with its fluffy white fur trim. When I emerged from the bathroom, Nick's eyes went wide. "You look incredible," he said softly. "So do you," I replied. "Now let's finish this." I helped Nick into the stockings first, showed him how to roll them carefully up his legs, how to adjust them so they sat smoothly without wrinkles. His hands were shaking slightly, so I took over, my fingers gentle against his skin. Then the heels. The sleek red stilettos that brought him to my height, changed his posture, altered his entire presence. He stood carefully, wobbling slightly, and I held his hands to steady him. "Take your time," I murmured. "Feel your balance." He took a few careful steps, adjusting to the mechanics of walking in heels. And gradually, muscle memory seemed to kick in, maybe from that college performance, maybe from somewhere deeper, and his movements became more natural, more confident. Finally, the dress. I lifted it carefully from its hanger, held it open. Nick stepped into it, and I guided it up his body, adjusted the fit over his hips and chest, zipped it slowly. The beaded fringe shimmered with every tiny movement. The dramatic poinsettia appliques drew the eye to perfectly placed focal points. The sheer lace and sequined fabric caught the candlelight beautifully, and those white fur sleeves, God, those sleeves, draped over his arms with such elegant drama. I stepped back, looked at him, really looked. And in that moment, I wasn't styling my husband. I wasn't playing dress up or indulging a fantasy. I was honoring a memory. I was saying, "I see you." I was giving back something I knew he'd missed. I was loving him the only way I knew how. Completely. Without conditions. Without limits. "Look at yourself," I said gently. Nick turned toward the mirror. And the expression that crossed his face, I'll remember it for the rest of my life. He stood there, completely still, staring at his reflection. Tears welled in his eyes. Not from sadness, but from relief. Recognition. Remembrance. "That Christmas performance," he whispered. 7 years ago. "I remember," I said softly. "You were in the audience?" His voice cracked. "You saw me." "I saw you," I confirmed. "And I've never stopped seeing you." He covered his mouth with his hand, overcome. "Morgan, this isn't random. This is intentional," I finished. Every detail. The dress style, the era, the whole transformation. I wanted to give you back that night. That feeling, that freedom. I took his hands. "You're always this beautiful to me, always this real. The dress doesn't change who you are. It just makes visible what I already see." He pulled me into his arms, careful not to crush our dresses, and we stood there swaying slightly to the jazz music still playing softly in the background. What I saw in that moment wasn't shock or embarrassment or regret. It was recognition. It was coming home. It was the reunion of someone with a part of themselves they thought they'd lost. That night, Christmas gave us back who we were. Later, after the initial emotional wave passed, Nick told me something I'll never forget. "I thought I'd buried that part of myself," he said quietly. "Thank you for showing me it was never gone." We took photos, dozens of them, him alone in that stunning dress. Me in my playful Christmas outfit. Both of us together, all made up and glowing. Evidence of this moment. Proof that it happened, that it was real. And as I looked at those photos later, what struck me wasn't how different Nick looked, it was how fundamentally the same he was. His smile, his eyes, his essence. The dress didn't change him, it revealed him. Marriage, I realized, isn't about fitting into roles. It's about creating space for each other to exist fully, to be seen completely, to transform without fear. Christmas, I realized, isn't just about tradition. It's about rebirth, about becoming who we're meant to be, about love that makes room for truth. This Christmas was unforgettable, not because it was extreme, but because it was truthful. Because Nick and I chose authenticity over comfort, chose each other over convention, chose love over fear. And if there's anything I hope you take from our story, it's this. The most extreme transformation isn't what we wear. It's the courage to be seen. Thank you for listening to our story, for holding space for our truth, for being part of this moment with us. If this resonated with you, if you have your own transformation story, or if you're still searching for the courage to write one, please share in the comments. I read every single one, and your stories matter to me. And if you want more stories like this, intimate, acceptance-driven narratives about love and authenticity, and the beautiful complexity of being human, please subscribe. Until next time, may you find the courage to be exactly who you are. Merry Christmas, happy transformation, and above all, happy becoming. The end.
The Gender Diary exists to light that path with shared stories. Whether you found connection in this narrative, you're on your own journey of gender exploration, or you're here seeking understanding, your subscription fuels our mission. Every subscriber empowers us to keep illuminating these authentic experiences for our community. Kindly drop a comment below. Your voice adds to the tapestry of experiences that makes this space meaningful. Until our next story unfolds.